just to share a quick story. My 12-year-old son, who's here with us today, Arlen, and he and I went to Niagara Falls sometime recently, and we just happened to be there the day that they had the fireworks show. So after the fireworks show was over, I asked him, "So Arlen, what did you think? How was it?" And he tells me, "Mom, this was awful. So much pollution in the air, and for what? It's such a waste, and they have this twice a week." And I said, wow, I mean, that really means that our generations are changing. And I'm really happy to be here because I'm sitting in front of an elite audience, people who have done the most difficult thing. The most difficult thing is to change yourself. It takes, of course, we discussed courage and a lot of humility. And I am humbled to be here with all of you who have actually done that. As a family business working in recycled paper, my husband has always been a visionary. So he has always said that I will choose, and our company will choose, to play in spaces where we can be eco-friendly. So we have chosen not to take the route of making paper from wood. We have chosen to take the less profitable route today of making paper from recycled fiber, whether it be paper or it be agricultural residue. And as a family, as a company, we know that that's where our future is. If we know that there is recycled paper available and agricultural residue available, then why is it in the world that we have so much paper being made from trees? Why? When we ask ourselves that question, we realize that the reason why that's so is because the Industrial Revolution since the 18th century, when they had to start making paper in large demand, they went ahead and started cutting trees down. Theoretically, if you think about it, shouldn't it be easier, shouldn't it be cheaper to make paper from an existing paper rather than cutting down a tree? But it's not today. It's not because of the Industrial Revolution. And so what we actually have to do is we have to reverse it. The Industrial Revolution then has spent a lot of time, money, energy, manpower, all designed ways to make it easier to cut trees and make paper. But in order for us to do recycled paper, we have to collect it from all different sources. And that collection process from individual collection centers today is an expensive process. You have to make sure you put the paper in the right garbage can. You have to make sure that it gets collected. You have to make sure it gets transported to some place. You have to make sure it's sorted. You have to make sure it's baled. You have to make sure then it gets transferred to a paper mill. All of these processes today are very expensive. So therefore, recycled paper generically is more expensive than paper made from cutting down a tree. So where does our future lie? Our future lies, we know that we need to get that recycled paper cheaper. So that's all in how can we recover that better. Just to give you some idea of statistics. Today the US, whatever garbage you put into your trash cans of paper, let's say, about 65% of that gets converted back into paper. About 16% goes into landfills. And that 16% means about 26 million tons is going into landfills that actually could have been avoided, and we could have converted back into paper. So it's the process of recovery is where the problem is. And going forward, because the good news is that paper consumption in America is going down, as Holly rightly said, newsprint consumption, we don't read newspapers anymore, right? How many of us here today read newspapers? So when we don't really read newspapers as much as we used to, that means that conversion goes down. So we had 12 million tons of newsprint being manufactured in North America. Today that's down to 5 million tons, greatly reduced, which is great. But the other part of it is that means that recycled paper availability in the market is much less. So how are you going to sustain the paper industry still without cutting trees? Then the next future step is to go ahead and make that paper segregated and be more available to be used. We don't want those 26 million tons to go into the landfill. We want the paper back to go into paper mills. So what can we do about it? Well, what if we all work together? I know that colleges are great places to have incubations of strategies, of ideas. What if we went ahead and worked with colleges that we would find ways to make the collection process a little easier, or find ways to go ahead and incentivize people. You're a busy person. You don't have time to go ahead and make sure you sort out your whites and your browns and your garbages. So what if we were to incentivize you? I know in Europe they've incentivized people. You have to have your light bulbs to be incandescent light bulbs. You cannot use normal light bulbs. So what if we had collaborations with the government and industries and finances and educational institutions to do all of these kinds of things, it could work. And it will. It will. We just have to get there. Because we are consuming much more paper than we are collecting. What else? What have we done? What have we done as a company that's been in the paper business for 30 years? Well, besides making our products price competitive, we've gone ahead one step further, that now we tell our retailers that, okay, what we want to do is that we give you our notebooks when you need them for back to school, and we will collect your waste back from you. So we will take all your paper waste, give you notebooks, and we will give you a monetary incentive. So Whole Foods will go ahead and do that for you if you go ahead and let us collect your waste. We'll give you money back on the notebooks that you buy from us. And other retailers, of course, likewise in the system. What else have we done? We went ahead and last year when we were over here, we told Team Sterling Greens that this is not just a notebook, this is a platform for coming together. And what we did on the backside is that we went ahead and put Team Sterling Green, Project Green Challenge, and all of our other green friends on it. And we've had emails, we've had thank yous from other companies who have gone ahead and found out about these things. And they said that, well, can we make this bigger? So we want to do that. We want to integrate Team Sterling Green. We want to integrate more messages into our notebooks. We want to integrate a print media alternate form along with the social media so that the entire revolution of greening and still having things that you need to be available to you. That's another thing that we want to do. The third part of it is that besides just being in the notebook business, we are also going into the education business. What we want to do is, for the first part of this, as you know, is creating a better world for our children, which we've all talked about. Everybody knows the same thing, that's to green it, make it better, make it more sustainable. But the other part of it is that what we really need to do on the inside is that we need to create better children for our world. If we need to have people who are far better individuals than we are today, then we need to train our hearts and mind to work together. Our educational system has been so developed in a manner that is very logic-oriented, very analysis-oriented. But as soon as we come to intuition, we don't have the tools in our educational system to excite our intuition. And life is about living both with logic and intuition. Our next step that we want to do through our medium is to go ahead and teach people how to be intuitive. Teach people that you can just sit there and be silent and let the answers come to you. Teach people to go ahead and look for that ray when you need it the most. Teach people that if you need to use your hands for being an artist, you have that. Teach people that if you need your legs to run, you know how to direct your energies there. So it's another realm of education, but we feel that for true sustainability, it's not just the earth, but the inside, and we can go ahead and really do both. Thank you.